And it's if you go back to when actually Jericho was having a feud with them, he's the one with
Whoever's
the
eyes are
square
the
head.
biggest.
Top Rope Tokes. That is our name. And honestly, we don't know what we're doing because this is the start. But that is Range. I am saying, and welcome to the show. But we are here to review AEW Rampage, which is the second to last one before Double or Nothing, because we got next week.
Yeah, we'll have one more after this one.
We got Dynamite and Rampage, and they look like they are going to be big shows right before the pay-per-view.
Yep. So Rampage was actually a pretty big show for a Rampage, I'd say. But, we're warming up to Double or Nothing here. So, of course, we got a few more confirmed matches out of the night. So we started off the night with House of Black against Dark Order's Evil Uno and 10, and then with Fuego del Sol. My understanding is that there's something going on with what.
So what it is seems like this is just mishmash pairing since Stu Grayson's contract expired and it was not renewed. So Evil Uno lost his tag team partner of, I don't know how long they were going together. We'll just say 5 to 10 years. But they've been together for a long while. So what are you going to do with them? But either way, it doesn't really matter. They're thrown together. Who knows going to be with who? Didn't really matter when you were facing House of Black.
Right. That's what it was like. We knew it was a thrown together match. Just to kind of once again show how dominant the House of Black is, and setting up this looming battle with Death Triangle, in which, speaking of, after the obvious win by House of Black, let's go with HOB. After the obvious win by HOB, we have Death Triangle showing up at the top of the entrance ramp, and Penta is here with something. We don't see exactly what it is covered up yet, but it's being covered up at the moment. And Ray Phoenix, Pac, and that one guy that's real
Alex
weird.
Abrahantes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they all kind of come out.
But yeah, they all. Yeah, so everyone except for Penta kind of goes back into the back, and Penta unveils a tombstone. We see Double or Nothing on the bottom of the tombstone. As he pulls the veil even further, he sees the name House of Black on the said tombstone, setting up a battle for Double or Nothing that we kind of thought might be there. House of Black versus Death Triangle. I don't know if there's going to be any kind of stipulations to the match or anything. Probably just a normal kind of match.
I feel like this is going to be normal. The big question
like the first match of the night.
Do they push it on further, or do they just move on from it since it's already been thrown off the rails due to injuries?
Crazy train.
Although the injury to Ray Phoenix did open the door for Penta El Oscuro, if I got that right. I am sorry, but Penta, this version of Penta, which is a lot more darker, which is why we also see Phoenix come out in all white gear all the time. Also, because that contrast
is actually just dark.
Yep, it's supposed to be Penta
Spanish.
Dark.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the name, is Penta Dark. But so you get that good contrast against the House of Black. But yeah, so it's adding to a Double or Nothing card, which we already know AEW with any of their major shows is going to have a big card. I think the last one we watched was like 10 matches or something like that, 11 the last time we watched.
We have I think we have at least 10 so far here already.
And eventually later tonight, we get a
Well,
hint towards the one match I am looking forward to most. And that one's free to watch.
yeah,
That promo is
that's
not
gonna
far
be
down
my
the road. All right. What came
yeah.
after the
So what comes
Penta?
next? Ooh, next up is we cut to a promo with the Gun Club and Max Caster of the Acclaim. Oh
Papa?
man,
Papa?
Papa. Yeah, as Tony, Tony gets the serious stuff out of the way first. He does that really well. He lets everyone know that Anthony Bowens is injured. He'll be out for a little while. And we cut back to Gun Club with Papa Billy Gunn and Max Caster. And man, I I love
It
it
was
so
so
much.
good.
It's so awkward and so hilarious at the same time. I can't like the Gun Club with their whole daddy papa thing, and then Max just joins in right away.
What do we do,
And if
Papa?
yeah, what do we do, Papa? And Billy treats him more like a son than his other two sons, than his actual two sons that are standing right there. And it's just pure gold, these promos. I don't know what's coming of this.
I honestly can't even remember what Billy said back to Max to comfort him. It was
I don't.
probably something, cliche or something like, we'll figure it out, we'll get over this and that. But the end of it, we know the end of it because that's when the laughter died just in time to see that there is going to be a party thrown. And what kind of party is going to be thrown, David? Rain?
Scissor party!
All I
Got
can
no.
say is I am so thankful that before he was even part of the company, things that Danhausen started, that guy right there, with Ass Boys, has sent them on a trajectory of being just goofy as hell, and it's awesome. I
Yeah,
didn't
that.
tweet at Billy Gunn right away saying,
But
Dad, Daddy, Dad, hi.
I think that everyone needs to be tweeting Billy Gunn for fatherly advice.
Hold on, what day is Father's Day this year?
Ooh, good question.
All right,
It's
so
usually somewhere in the middle of June.
early mid June. It is going to be Sunday, June 19th. So I hope that everyone remembers this, or the whole
Yep,
Daddy
1 month from
Papa thing
today.
goes so well that
In 30 days, we all have to wish Billy Gunn a happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's
30
Day,
days from
Papa.
today.
And Billy Gunn does Goofy really well, and he's really embraced the Ass Boys thing since like day one, and it's been great. And just being able to see this and just get more really well done humor, or at least humor that fits, I feel like probably is what most of their demographic is, people like us. So getting that kind of humor
I
done
think
on
so.
there and making it work, I'll take it all the time. It can't be half the show, but you pick your spots and it's amazing.
Yeah, like their little spots that they have, because everything was before that was super serious, and then you cut to that, and it just almost peed my pants sitting here laughing at it. And then, but yeah, like they do it in small bits because we cut right out of that into another serious bit with FTR accepting Roppongi Vice's challenge next Dynamite for the Ring of Honor Tag Team
And one of
Championships.
the cruxes of this whole side of the promo was in response to Roppongi Vice talking about wanting to eventually get back to Japan to win tag titles over there. FTR was like, you know what? Yeah, we'll fight you for it. Partially because when we beat you, we can kind of jump the line into contendership when we go to Japan. They want to continue belt collecting. They got Ring of Honor. They got AAA, I believe, still. Yeah, saw him with
Yep.
them. Yep. Um, and then talking about Japan, yeah, they want to face the best all around the world, and that's all there is to it.
Hey, collect some belts. That'll be cool. So what we saw next up was the Shawn Spears match, and we had a debut for Big
Big
Damo.
Damo, Big Damo.
I don't know
Um,
much about him. All I know is that he looks like the 2022 version of Albert.
Bigger, but he can move. Um, like some of his things that I've seen him do in the past, because I think this is the first time I've seen him since he left WWE. Um, he has a really good running crossbody. So I mean, just imagine you if you like launched off the football line or something like that, and you just dove at somebody and crossbodied them. Yeah. So yeah, he can pick up some speed for a guy his size, and he can move. It was nice to see him. It is odd seeing him without hair, but you knew where
Going
this
for
match
that
was
real
going.
Albert look.
But you knew where this match was going.
Yeah, we knew where this was going. It was extremely short. What was it, about 2 minutes, 3 minutes maybe?
Yeah, it was pretty short, and Sean
But yeah, it was
Spears.
basically Shawn Spears trying to look dominant. So to set up that cage match next week with Wardlow, he even yells Wardlow's name as he does his power slam at the end to
C,
finish the match.
I think he calls it the C4 over there. It's a Death
C4,
Valley
okay,
driver. I believe he calls it the
yeah,
C4. It's something about explosives. He doesn't wrestle that often. He's a solid guy. He's just never been like the superstar. So when you can use him in spots and make him meaningful in some kind of way, it's nice. But obviously we know where that's going.
yeah, yeah. I'm
Um,
gonna say he's gonna that cage match next week should be interesting.
he cuts a promo about it after. Pretty basic. Calls himself the Giant Killer, and he's gonna be stuck in the cage with the Giant Killer. And that was pretty much it. It wasn't any great lines. It was kind of, I don't want to say cliche, but it's the beats you
Yeah,
expect to be hit that have to be hit.
yeah, nothing in particular really. Um,
One of two things comes next, I feel like, and I could be entirely wrong about this. So, which
okay,
came next?
so what comes next is a promo. This
It.
is the Undisputed Elite promo.
Oh, I forgot that got slipped in there. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an Undisputed Elite promo. You got your boy Adam Cole, baby, Red Dragon, and the Young Bucks. Um, they all just kind of do their normal Undisputed Elite thing. We're better than everybody, blah, blah,
Kyle
blah.
says he'd be
But
an honor to face Cole if he would get to face him in the finals.
yeah,
No,
which I still think is going to be Joe.
it's gonna.
Yeah.
It's gonna.
I don't think Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole at the pay-per-view is going to entertain people. So
Although
yeah.
6 months ago they were having like a death feud, so actually longer than 6 months,
Oh,
more like 9, 10, 11. I don't know. Before Adam Cole
okay.
got there, um, like right before Adam Cole got there, the prior like 4 months was those two feuding. But yeah, it'd be way too soon to
Okay.
see it again either. Anyway, nobody
Yeah.
wants to see it again right now. You want to enjoy the moment of them all being together. There's such a built-in story with that group and how it's going to end up splintering off down the line. Um, yeah, you're not going to Kyle Riley against Adam Cole unless there was some weird like stipulation to it. But they're going to be the heels, so they're never going to be the ones in that boat. Be different if they ever made like their enemies, their team fight each other as a stipulation, but different story. But there was one big point to the
Right.
end
There
of this
was one
promo.
big point out of this, and which is why I mentioned the Young Bucks last, because the Young Bucks
Laid
set up
down the
look.
challenge.
They laid down a challenge. They slapped it on the table, and I think this is a match that I'm pretty hyped about. Um, but they want to face the Hardys at Double or Nothing, and you know the Hardys are going to accept. So that's another big match we got for Double or Nothing that I'm pretty excited for. I mean, I wish that it had been like it could be Prime Hardys against Prime Young Bucks, but I'll take it.
At least you know Jeff Hardy's still doing all the same crazy shit. Matt
Yeah,
Hardy, not as
Hardy,
much.
love you, my guy, but you look like you're about to pick your kids up from school tomorrow. Oh, wait, tomorrow's Saturday. Sorry. You look like you're going to pick your kids up from school on Monday and not wrestle.
But the reason why I said I know something soon's coming up, and it's going to be either one of my other favorite things of the show, or it's going to be one of your other favorite things of the show, is that's what is one of those next?
So, next up, yeah, it's one of my favorite things, definitely.
As soon as you reaction, I know where we're going.
So, we've got an Owen Hart match up next. Red Velvet enters with Jade Cargill and Kiera Hogan, the baddies, together, standing up there on the entrance ramp, just all majestic.
Did they, I missed the entrance. Did they have the money fans out? Because I could really use one of those right now.
No money fans. No money fans. No, no, no. No. Yeah, they had that Mark Sterling dude with them, of course, too.
Cripple Mark
He's
Sterling.
he's he's forgettable. He's not a baddie.
Don't forget that if you are a security guard who was injured at the hands of Wardlow, you need to contact Mark Sterling. He has a
He's got
commercial
your
about
back.
it and everything. He's got your back. Um,
Back.
I don't know if he's any
Yep.
good at law. I know he's good at collecting action figures. I don't know about good at law.
Hey, action figures. He's good at something. But so yeah, this is Red Velvet entering, and this is versus Chris Statlander. Sorry, I got sidetracked talking about the baddies because the baddies.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah. Red Velvet versus Chris Stantlander. Chris Statlander is like
a
a whole
beast.
foot taller than her. She is a freaking beast. Oh my gosh. But actually, it was a pretty entertaining match at one point. Yeah. As he's doing right now, we saw Chris Statlander get Red Velvet up in a gorilla press, and she took one hand away and held her up and flexed with the other hand just to show her power. Holy shit.
And I
I've
don't need to
never
do it
seen
justice
anyone do
because
that
you know
before.
she's got more muscles than I do.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, Red Velvet, good job keeping your balance there. But still, the power of Chris Statlander to hold one person up by one hand, just like that.
Yep.
Amazing.
Just that little. All she had was that little bit of kickstand help from Red Velvet, but ooh, it's in there just thinking about putting whatever amount. I don't even want to do
Yeah.
that with anything heavier than a pizza box, dude.
I feel you. I don't, yeah. Yeah, just doing that barehanded for like more than 2 seconds is enough for me. That's
I was a little bit of surprise though. I wasn't sure how which way this match would go, just because
really.
having Ruby on the other side, so you have the opportunity
Oh
to go heel
yes, I
versus
forgot to
face.
mention that Ruby was there announcing
She was
because
on
she was there sitting.
commentary.
Yeah, she was sitting there watching and saying stuff occasionally, but I don't think you could say it was commentary.
I think I heard like two lines from her the entire match or something like that.
But they made sure that you knew that she was there.
Yep. But the second, so the heel face dynamic of the next round was one possible reason. The fact that Chris wasn't even originally in the tournament was another reason. Like she was a replacement for somebody else's injury, which
Yeah, that's right.
only kind of supports the heel face dynamic a little bit, right? That she wasn't even originally supposed to be there. So I was like, okay, with the baddies sitting ringside, they might do something here. They AEW doesn't do that stuff a ton, but they might do something here. Um, and then the last reason,
But
as the match was actually happening, was Statlander was taking so much offense, so they were doing such a good job of making sure she looked tough. So it's like, are they making her look tough in defeat? Is that what's going to happen? So I wasn't exactly sure, so I had just enough reason to have a little bit of a doubt, but I knew in terms of hierarchy, it should be Statlander. So I was
Okay.
happy to see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, her Statlander does pull off the win. No interference from the baddies because they're classy ladies. They would never do something like that. But they did beat the shit out of Chris Stantlander after the bell rang. Kiera Hogan, bless you, lady. She came up and stomped her out real good. Ruby came running down the ramp here.
Pretty much
What
just
happened?
helped set
Oh
up
yeah.
that.
Yeah, pretty much just setting up that next week match. Then here comes Jade to take out Ruby, beats Ruby's ass a little bit, and then we get Anna Jay coming down the ramp with I forgot what weapon she had, but she had some form of weapon.
She hit Mark on the way to the ring and took his crutch.
Oh yeah, that's right. She hit Mark, took his crutch, and then started going for Jade. Jade jumps out the ring and stares at her for a second.
And it was kind of slightly awkward mistimed because Jade was getting out of the ring, but Anna was already up on her, and she acted like she was going to start to swing. Jade was still like on the ring apron on the outside, like where she could still hit her, but she ends up just doing kind of like this towards her, like yeah, get off the ring apron. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you still could have hit her easily if you had actually wanted to swing. So I was like, oh,
Yeah,
Jade might have
yeah.
needed to get
The
out of there a little bit faster.
timing was a little awkward. Little awkward.
And it
Yeah.
might have been a little bit quicker. I don't know. But I'm like, like, wouldn't you still take that swing? Next, was it my
But
thing?
yeah, next. Nope.
Damn it. We got something slipping in
I
front
don't
of it
think
because
it's.
it's got to be close.
Wait, what? I don't know. I hope I didn't miss something because next I have Scorpio and Dan Lambert and that one guy that
Ethan
just
Page.
yells. Yeah, that yeller.
I love him. Um,
Yeah.
I just don't
I don't
really
know if
care for
something. I
that
don't remember if
collective
something
group.
happened before that.
Do you have in your
I don't
notes
think something
Danhausen and
happened.
do you have Hookhausen in your notes?
Oh, because that was like a commercial, but that was. I believe that was before this, the Scorpio and Lambert.
Because I was like, I know it had to be somewhere
Yeah, that
around
was
here.
right. That was right before that.
You
So
got a
yeah.
nice little like Rocky versus Ivan Drago type of montage where you had um, the premier athlete and he's with Sterling as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, doing their little. Mark would do a little bit of workout, but it wouldn't be much. And Premier was doing everything kind of extra, and then you would kind of bounce back and forth between their preparation for the tag match to Hookhausen's, which was awesome. At one point you saw the
I
Hook.
missed some of this, so you got to fill us all in here.
So I can't say exactly what it was, but it was a bunch of little things. Like they showed Hook doing pull-ups on a bar, then they would switch back to Premier Athlete and Mark doing something. Then they switch back to the pull-up bar, and it's just Danhausen hanging from it and kind of spinning from one arm and not even trying to do a pull-up. Switch back. And then you come back to Danhausen and Hook, and like Hook's running on a cardio treadmill, and Danhausen's just sitting there next to him, just walking it, staring at Hook. Um, I can't remember
Yeah.
at one point Hook was doing push-ups or sit-ups or something on the floor, and Danhausen's just sitting in the chair behind him eating chips. Just it's what we were talking about earlier. It's like you have Hook being serious, and then you just have Danhausen perfectly being silly in the background as a contrast, and it just makes me crack. The only one that I remember about Mark doing is
Super team.
they were doing squats, and he was. Sterling was doing more like pelvic thrust because he wasn't going deep at all in his squats. And the premier athlete looks on like, what are you doing? He's like, squats. But really dipped like 2 inches and just kind of did like a little bit of a thrust. But just me sitting there, anytime I can watch Danhausen do Danhausen things, I'm going to at least giggle, laugh, or something. It did not compare to the Ass Boys tonight and the Gun
Yeah,
Club,
I'm gonna say that.
but I will
Yeah, yeah,
always enjoy Danhausen.
yeah. I'm gonna say we'll definitely have to go over the best moments at the end here, but you do always get a good laugh when you see Danhausen come out there.
I
Like
was
no matter what happens, even if it's like I remember what was the last pay per view when he came out during the match with everybody.
Well, I'm trying to remember because there's the one at pay-per-view where he was like a camera dude and he surprised the guy. There's been a couple of times that he's been pulled
No,
out
the
from
last
under
one
the
he
ring.
came out. Yeah, last one he came out from under the ring.
Yeah, he's done it a number of times. But yep, it's just when you can perfectly time the little bit of spots, it works.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
then
you
we
gotta
go,
love that guy.
love that Danhausen. But next we went back, as you just like earlier, we went back to Sirius, and by
But yeah, we
Sirius,
went right back to the series.
we went to Screaming.
Yeah, we go to Scorpio Sky, Dan Lambert, and
Ethan Page.
what's the Ethan Page. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it eventually. But yeah, the three of those guys in the ring, they're mad at Sammy Guevara because he took the belt. They give the mic to Ethan Page. He screams a whole lot of stuff that I really tuned out because I didn't want to hear him scream. So it's like, why is the third guy more mad than everybody else? It just doesn't make sense. All right. But
But we only went from obnoxious to somehow the most obnoxious because then we got Sammy on the screen with Tay in the background saying, I took it and I would never do anything to it. I respect it, that kind of stuff. But my friend here pulls out a sledgehammer, has other plans, says, give us the match or else he's going to destroy the title. He takes a cut, won't give him the match. Sammy takes a couple swings, then introduces Kaz onto the screen. Same kind of thing. He talks about not being cool anymore and all that good stuff, and then takes his other swings. And I don't really remember if anyone stormed off or anything because I just wanted Sammy off my screen because he was just as Kaz was taking his swings. Of course, Sammy and Tay in the background, one step away from ripping each other's clothes off. I don't.
yeah,
Now, with that being said, you and I, neither of us have issues with things like PDA and people doing though just romance and people loving each other. It's just the obnoxiousness and everything. Basically, what they've
it's
been
the
going
fact that they
for.
do like the porno slob on each other. Like, like, bruh, come on with the porno slob every single time you're on screen.
It's the best thing I could compare it to is like a boy or a girl like in high school when they get dumped and then they make sure that their ex can watch them making out with their new boyfriend or girlfriend at like the next high school dance or something. It's like they're doing it over the top just to be annoying, and it's actually annoying. I'm like, I don't. Please go away.
Yep. Yeah, not a huge fan of them, but it's this whole feud here now is kind of getting weird with Scorpio and Sammy just because they're both heel now. And so they're like having a who's the bad guy contest here, and it's just not working. They need to
That's
hurry up and
why.
end this.
That's why I was really surprised when he turned around and blasted Kaz in the head after his match
Mhm.
for the title because prior to that, you you had sown the seeds of doubt, saying like, no, it's going to be this way now, and Scorpio was standing up for himself and seemingly being more like honorable and decent and stuff like that. So
Right.
maybe Sammy was going more towards heel, and they were doing something to at least go the other way with Scorpio. But then, yeah, once that happened, just like you said, it's like, all right, who am I supposed to want to win this? The guy that kind of feels like he should be doing a lot better, but he's in this awkward trio, or
Or
Hey and Sammy making out all the time.
yeah. Yeah,
What am
like
I supposed to root
I
for?
don't know. Yeah, I don't know what we're supposed to be rooting for here, and they need to just hurry up and end this feud, like immediately, please, because I don't want to see it anymore.
Things ending. What was next?
Next, um, this was Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Tony Storm's promo setting up their match for Dynamite
In the
as
Owen.
part of the Owen Hart tournament. Yeah, in which I think we both kind of think we've got Britt Baker winning that match.
Mm-hmm. Basically, Britt is always going to look like a top star.
Mm-hmm.
So if she's going to lose, you feel like it's kind of has to be in the finals.
Right.
Um, Also Tony, facial expressions, yeah, just very angsty teen looking, like Rocky
Yeah.
angsty teen. Britt, very much just her normal self. It it's gonna be interesting, but yeah, even if it requires help from Reba Rebel, it's gonna be Britt. It feels like it's gotta be Britt.
Yeah. Gotta be. Gotta be. I feel
She's
like
no longer champion, but she will always be.
the DMD. Yeah. Then so yeah, they set up their match. We go to commercial. Then we come back for the main event promo.
Is it me or did this Rampage main event promo thing feel like it lasted a lot longer than the normal Rampage main event promo?
Well, because you don't usually have Bryan Danielson. So when he takes the mic, they just let him do what he wants to do.
So I remember this is about when I stepped away. Because
Plus, it seemed like they had a lot of time.
yeah, because the main
Because
event was still
it
plenty.
started at like 9:40
Yeah, main event still had
ish.
plenty of time, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. He got to talk a while. Mox is standing in the back. Well, not standing. He's fidgeting in the back with his back turned to the camera.
yeah,
Dante
normal
looks
Mox
like your
things.
Dante looks like your little brother.
He
Like,
looks like the 15-year-old who somehow had a massive growth spurt to start off puberty.
mm-hmm. Yeah, like he looks like your little brother, but man, love that guy. But yeah, so their promo, not much to say about it. Whatever. We cut to another promo after that main event promo, and this one I wasn't really ready for. Jade Cargill.
I miss this.
Yeah, you missed this one. So Jade Cargill shows up. This is a really quick promo, by the way. It's just Jade Cargill. She has the mic, and she challenges Anna Jay to a match at Double or Nothing. So we've got
Pre-show.
yeah. It'll probably be in the pre-show. They did not say pre-show at any point.
I don't
But
know if you would put Jade on the pre-show as a character. So maybe it just ends up being the squash like bathroom break match kind of deal because Anna Jay's not coming anywhere close. I could see Ruby down the line being the one to take it from Jade, but Anna Jay's not doing it.
right, say it's I'd be very upset if Jade lost to Anna Jay. I don't really know anything about Anna Jay, but I'd just be very upset to
Yeah,
see Jade lose her belt
she was injured for a
like
while.
that.
I meant to kind of fill you in, but we were watching the show. I'll give you a rundown of her general story. She was injured for a while, so I know you missed you. I'm not sure when she came back, but she hasn't been out. She had a good role going. Then she got hurt, and then they started doing the pairing her with Tay all the time, where they're two best friends. It's like, okay, maybe they'll get a decent story in the women's division as a tag team kind of situation. But then Tay got wrapped up with Sammy, and she's just kind of, it's felt like she's been lost in the shuffle. The thing that I hoped that she had returned to do, which was basically um, bully the crap out of Stu Grayson on BTE, well, that's not possible anymore. He's not around. But yeah. So, speaking of predictable outcomes, the main event.
Event, yeah. So I guess we already knew what was going to happen in this match. Um, so the main things, I guess, that to really point out is obviously it's Rampage, so Jericho's already at the announce table.
It's
Um,
the Blackpool Combat
yeah, but
Club,
yeah,
so
yeah, this
Regal's
is
on commentary.
so yeah, we've got Regal sitting on the opposite side of the table from him. Jake Hager standing behind Jericho, standing there. Jericho says for protection or whatever. Blah blah.
He was
Yeah,
basically normal Jake Hager, standing behind Jericho, not saying a word, looking stoic, kind of thing.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, they just basically kept taking shots at each other. Some of it done very respectfully, like a lot of
Mm.
wrestlers with experience will talk about, like, if you bury your opponents, then you don't look strong for beating them. So Jericho was able to kind of talk about the way that Regal punished him and things that Regal did to him when he was like more of a rookie to Regal. But obviously both of their careers were long, so there's a lot of shots to be taken back and forth.
But yeah, that back and forth between Jericho and Regal was the most entertaining thing. Well, I take that back. I'm sorry. Let me not disrespect Dante
The match was good,
because
like
he was
AEW
there to get his.
does.
Yeah, like
They
he was there to
always will
get
make
beat
it
up.
competitive. They'll make it good.
But
You just
yeah,
know who's winning, that's all.
yeah, yeah. Like he was there to lose, but he put on a good damn show. I really want to see more of Dante, like going forward. Hopefully, we'll see a lot more of him, and
Hopefully with
not
his
just
brother.
thrown out there to lose. Yeah, I don't. I still haven't seen him with his brother yet. So
You have. Just it was very, very brief. Remember he came
okay.
back prior to the last pay-per-view when they were doing the tag team battle royals for who gets a tag title match.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They were
yeah.
in that battle royal where they made it to the finals, and then they had a few matches after, and then his brother got hurt again.
Poor guy.
As a team, great. As a solo guy, we won't know what Martin's future can be until he's a little bit more older.
Yeah, because yeah, he's just like right now. His problem is because he's got it in the ring, definitely. But his problem is that he looks like just like he's your little brother. Like
It's
you should just like you should give him some advice and give him a hug or something. And
it's kind of like when you draft athletes in basketball or football or something at 21, 22, you're still talking about how once they get into the NFL, they still have to fill out their bodies more and they still get bigger. They still work out. And he's kind of just like at that point, like we'll see where he's at when he has a couple more years and he's kind of at that point. And hopefully at that point, character wise, whether it be with his brother or whatever, who knows? But
yeah, we'll see. But hopefully, he's got a bright future ahead of him. Hopefully, so.
we don't really have to go through too many beat by beats or anything because like the action was fast. It was Dante Martin. There was a lot of counters. Um, BCC
Yeah.
did their normal wrestling style, lots of attempts at chokes and submissions, stomps and elbows to the head while trapped. They end up winning. And after the match, Jericho comes down. They all kind of brawl on the ramp between the Jericho Appreciation Society and the
Blackpool Combat.
and then, well, Santana Ortiz and Eddie came out as well, and they were all brawling on the ramp. There wasn't really a conclusion to it at all. It was one of those just massive, like, we're going to end the show on a brawl, which,
Yeah, and we're out of time. Here's a fight.
did they do that on Dynamite, or did they do that last week on Rampage or Dynamite? Because they did that recently on another show.
Dynamite ended with the Undisputed Elite whooping ass.
Yeah, because remember, they were also in
Yeah.
the brawl, and
Yeah,
Matt
and then
Jackson
Matt
ended the
Jackson
show
just starts
stupid.
unbuttoning his shirt in the middle of the ring.
Yep. So 2 shows in a row where we're going off the air with chaos.
Yeah, like
They
we ended
are
with an ass whooping.
really throwing it back to like
Well, this one wasn't an ass
1998
whooping.
WCW, where it's like,
Yeah.
we're not going
Hey,
to
I
see the end
like
of
it.
this.
I like it. I don't mind. Like, we're out of time. These guys are fighting. You guys will have to come back next week and find out what happens.
As long as there isn't a big moment that happens right as it goes off the air, because I think the last big moment on Dynamite was the Sting's
The
ankle in
shirt
the chair.
unbuttoning. Yeah.
And you had like another good maybe 30 seconds or whatever after to kind of like embrace the chaos in a sense. So that way, like, no other big thing, you're not going like, holy shit, and then cut. Like you let it sit, you let them catch and be like, oh, and you get the reaction to whatever the biggest moment is. Although, if Matt Jackson had turned that thing X-rated, we don't know.
We
We
don't
don't
know.
know.
Hey, we fade to black. So as far as I know, it got real sexy in the ring. Because when you fade to black, sexy stuff usually happens.
Just bring Evil Uno out in his all leather suit.
Okay. I'm gonna get real Pulp Fiction with it.
But
oh gosh.
overall,
But overall, I think that was definitely for a Rampage. That was a solid show.
it felt like it was a little bit. I don't want to say it. It wasn't much bigger than a Rampage show, but it felt like
Yeah,
there was a lot more things that mattered
storyline
in it,
wise, yeah.
even though they were smaller beats. Like
Right.
just answering
Yeah, like
challenges, laying out challenges. It wasn't anything like massive story, like somebody comes out and just shocks the world or anything like that, or twists and turns. It was kind of what you expected, but there was a lot of stuff in there that helped push along stories and get us to where we need to be, with the pay-per-view being
days away.
9 days away,
Yeah,
a week plus 2.
29. Mm-hmm.
But Dynamite and Rampage next week, though, like leading up to the pay-per-view, looks like we're in for a lot of exciting things. A lot of the matches even being made this week were long overdue that you could kind of see coming in the. I'm assuming that means on Dynamite we'll probably get just a promo from the Hardys accepting the
I
challenge.
think so, yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing MJF as a referee. I'm pretty sure he'll do incredible.
I wonder how. If I remember correctly, when they do cage matches in the AEW, they do not allow escaping the cage for the win. Pinfall submission. When Britt and Thunder did it, same thing. So with that being said, it
Pretty
feels like
cool.
the only way, because Wardlow's not really doing submissions or anything like that, is he gonna do the whole kind of like Austin did years and years and years ago, knock both their asses out and then just count with MJF's hand?
I think you might have predicted it. Maybe let's see. We'll have to see what happens, but I think that's
Or Is there any ref that I'm trying to remember that specifically maybe hates MJF? Like, does Aubrey have beef with MJF? Where maybe he knocks it out and they just knocks him out and they just do a replacement?
Yeah.
Because he's not losing. He's facing MJF.
Right. Like, this has to happen.
It'd be
That would be a huge shock to me.
if we were
I don't know
going
what the fuck are you doing.
into stipulation like 1 right now. It'd be a different story if there was like 5 stipulations. We were going into stipulation 1 where it's like, okay, they're building this up for like a special episode of Dynamite in like a month and a half or something like that. But you're at the end game. Double or Nothing's a week, 9 days away. He's winning. It's happening at Double or Nothing.
In some way, somehow, some way, it'll happen.
But here's the big question: who is going to pin who on the pre-show with Hookhausen, Mark Sterling, and the Big Show? Because you could see the possibility of Hook doing all the work, but Danhausen just kind of slipping into the win.
Say, I could see that happening.
For the comedy's sake, you could see Hook winning. If Hook pins or submits anyone, it's gotta be Tony Nese. Hook pinning or submitting Mark Sterling isn't gonna do shit. Danhausen can pin either of them, and it's just fine. But that's really.
I think the pin will probably be.
Hook's
It'll
finish
probably
sure is a
be.
submission, so I don't know what he's going to do to knock anyone out for Danhausen to fall into the win. Unless he just chokes him out and then Danhausen pins him.
Huh. So yeah, it might be a choke out then.
Just because thinking about the comedy aspect, it would make sense to have Danhausen, especially considering how fast he lost in his debut. For comedy purposes, it makes sense to have Danhausen somehow get it. But at the same time, Hook is Hook, and you're going to keep feeding him wins. So you can see it going either way.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, all I know is that we've got a main event before the show even happens. That's oh man. But
YouTube's giving
so
themselves a treat.
I'll be there.
I'll
I'll be
be in your
YouTubing.
fancy chair next to you.
Mm-hmm. My legs will be up in the air. But yeah. So wanted to ask you, Mr. Sand, favorite moment from today's episode.
What do we do, Papa?
Not necessarily movement, but okay.
Max Caster's delivery of that line was just so good. Like the scissor thing, I kind of expect because they do it whenever they have their promos now and on BTE and everything. Just that moment right there. What do we do, Papa?
Billy Gunn just takes him in his arm, in his gigantic fucking arm.
The only time in the history of AEW that I actually wish that Billy Gunn didn't stand tall over everybody, because if Max Caster was like significantly bigger than him, it would have been so much better.
But yeah, but that's the thing though, is Max Caster is actually a big dude.
Mm-hmm.
But Billy Gunn is just
huge,
not human. I don't know. Like that man wakes up and eats protein as soon as he wakes up.
Let's put it this way: you are bigger than the majority of AEW's roster.
Yeah.
And Billy Gunn would dwarf you.
Giant.
Oh, we always talk about how you can't trust wrestlers like listed heights and weights, but I know he was listed back in the day to be like 6'6", 6'7". So I don't know how accurate, how true, but yeah, so you figure he's probably at least like 6'5".
Yeah.
And
So just how he towers over everyone else.
strong, big strong boy at like 60 years old.
I don't even want to work out like that.
You know what?
I
That
think
the
he's
how
probably worked out more than one day than I have in my entire life.
you know what I just realized? I really would like to call him dad. Imagine having those genes.
Like, yeah, you can be a massive blue-eyed blonde man.
Oh no, shit, dude! I just want to be like able to do what he does at the age he does, and yet not look like Ric Flair. Like he, Ric Flair at the age that Billy Gunn's at, you could definitely tell he was getting like older.
Yeah, say Ric Flair looked like a 60-year-old wrestling.
Billy Gunn
I mean,
still looks like an
60-year-old
ancient like
wrestling.
Spartan statue come to life.
Yep, pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. Like,
And
like
you know,
his knees probably don't bend anymore, but I'd still be terrified of him.
he still gets in the ring sometimes, so he can move. But
Oh, okay.
even on top of that, remember the people he hung out with and the time in which he made a lot of money and made his name. There was a lot of party going on, so you gotta figure there's a solid chance he was not too kind on his body back then, even.
Yeah, so yeah. Well, he's around starting in the late '80s,
Oh,
early
him starting in the
'90s.
80s. You know what? It wouldn't be too surprising because he was in WWF by like mid 90s because he was part of the Smoking Guns tag team with Bart Gunn. I see you typing, so I already know you're looking up. But yeah, like I did not even think about him being possibly all the way back then.
Almost 60.
Oh yeah, he's up there.
Yeah, he was in WWE from '93 to 2004.
His official debut is listed as 1989.
Yes.
Yeah, because once you said that, I started thinking about I'm like comparing him to some of his peers, and like when Austin started, Sting's a little bit older, but he got into the game late, and Sting was still in the 80s. So I'm like, I never really thought about it
Yeah.
that way.
So, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, he's like same age as all those other guys, so he probably got started at that time and just maybe didn't hit as big as fast as the rest of them did.
Yeah, but 89, so he's a few years behind a lot of the others. I don't
Mhm.
know when he started either. I can't remember ever watching. I've watched a number of shoot interviews with him where he just sits there and he chats with people, but I don't ever really remember any about him talking about how he got started because you hear a lot of the stories about were you a fan as a kid, did you want to do this the whole time, and then some people are like as soon as I turned 17, 18, I went to train. Some people are like I wasn't huge into it, I maybe fell into it around 24, 25, and a little bit older. I'm not sure about him. Either way, he's still impressive.
Yeah, still massive dude. And him and his sons and Max Caster stole the show today. Rampage is the ass boys. Okay. The Rampage is the ass boys show. I don't care what anyone else has to say about it.
That is one thing I kind of like, and sometimes it feels like they've been rotating it. Like for a while, Rampage was like Hook show, or for a while it was like the CM Punk show where he did a lot of his matches over there every week. So they kind of rotate almost like who's on it a lot as like a feature, which is kind of cool. So that way you get a little bit of a different feel, or you can kind of get, if you watch that one, you can kind of get into one set of things and they rotate things in and out. Rotating things in and out is always a good thing in wrestling. Don't let things get stale. Don't always have the same people uh,
Right.
in the big stories. Give people time off so that way you can miss them and get excited when you see them. If I see the same person on a show 3 times, Mark Sterling, it's not as fun.
Yeah, of all the people to see 3 times in a show. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but
Mm-hmm.
that's the last guy that you, well, one of the last few people you want to see 3 times in a show.
And I like him. It's just it goes back to the comedy thing. Pick your spots, and since he is comedy, the more you see him, it's not going to work as often.
Right.
Like, thankfully, during the baddies match, he was essentially invisible, so that's the positive. The only thing that he was really out there was to lose his crutch.
Yeah, yeah, he was there just to have the crutch.
You are the crutch of this promo. Everything relies on you and this crutch.
Telling you, Jade needs to cut Mark Sterling because he's not a baddie.
Oh, if you remember, I think he said he didn't want her to hire him. He said like he wanted him to or her to hire him. Like he wanted to be a part of her brand. Like he latched onto her.
Leave
Smart
her
move.
alone. You can't be one of the baddies, sir. You are not in. I know I'm not the one that gets to make that decision, but no, Mark Sterling, you cannot be a baddie. No, I
Hey,
will not allow it.
hey. It just allows him to handle the business while Jade can handle the real business.
Yeah, telling Tony to cut the shit.
Hey, he wasn't out there for her promo though today, was he?
Nope.
She
Because she
didn't
didn't
get to
even have to
say.
tell him to cut the shit.
Well, to be fair, assuming they were taped on the same night and it wasn't a live Dynamite, it means she told him it once already that night.
True. She did tell him to cut the shit that same day, technically, but not showically. She should have told him to cut the shit. Like, Tony, I know you're out there somewhere. Cut the shit. That's all she had to do.
What color would
Hell
you
yeah.
like to see next on Jade?
Um,
Although it feels like she settled on green. It felt like she was changing it
think
up at first, but
let
she's
me
kind of
say, I think
settled.
green's her thing. Yeah, yeah. I feel like green is her thing now, with the whole coming out with the money fans occasionally, and
Plus, red
yeah.
velvet has red. Kira has multiple colors, but I would say probably mostly blue with her. Is probably
Mm-hmm.
what you see. So you got each of them standing out with their
And
own
Powerpuff
version.
Girls.
Oh, see, I was gonna say they're building Power Rangers, but that works too.
Real, they're going adult, sexy Power Rangers or Powerpuff Girls. Man, gotta love them. But yeah, shit, we're rambling. So I don't know what's a good way to end. Like, well, folks or wrestling fans, thanks for tuning in. This has been Top Rope Tokes. I'm Ranger Motions.
Just saying.
Thank you all. We out.
Makito style. Oh, never mind.